76ers star Joel Embiid is back and will play in Game 4 against the Celtics over 2 weeks after surgery from appendicitis. Welcome back, Joel Embiid. The Hardwood Report starts right now. Philadelphia has some good news, and they will need it as they get ready to take on the Boston Celtics. Down 2-1 in the series. They are looking to tie it back at home. Welcome to the Hardwood Report. I'm Ryder Bullock, and that is where we begin in Philadelphia, where the Boston Celtics carry a 2-1 series lead into Game 4 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Boston reminded everyone Friday night why they remain one of the East's most complete teams, grinding out a 108-100 win behind 25 points from Jaylen Brown. The Celtics have won 8 of their last 10 overall, averaging nearly 120 points a game in that stretch, and tonight they have a chance to seize total control of this matchup. Philadelphia, meanwhile, knows this is close to a must-win situation. Tyrese Maxey was sensational in the last game with 31 points, and he'll need another star-level effort tonight. The bigger question surrounds Joel Embiid. Okay, that answer now, though, has been answered, and it does change everything because the burden will no longer fall on Tyrese Maxey and the supporting cast searching for consistency. The numbers to watch tonight: Boston favored by 7.5 on the road. That tells you how much confidence odd makers have in this Celtics depth, defense, and late game poise. Then later in Houston, the Los Angeles Lakers look for the knockout punch against the Houston Rockets. Los Angeles leads the series 3-0 after an overtime thriller, 112 to 108 on Friday night. LeBron James turned back the clock with 29 points, while Houston got 33 from Alperen Şengün in the defeat. Now the pressure shifts squarely to Houston. No team wants to become another first-round sweep statistic, but injuries have complicated everything. Kevin Durant will not play today, still listed as day-to-day, and Fred VanVleet also remaining out for the season. The Rockets were one of the league's best rebounding teams all year, but tonight they'll need more than rebounds. They need execution, shot making, and belief. The Lakers do come in shorthanded as well. Luka Doncic is out. Austin Reeves is day-to-day, but at 3-0, all Los Angeles needs is one more composed performance to move on. So here's the story tonight in Philadelphia. Desperation meets discipline with Joel Embiid's return. In Houston, survival meets experience as the Rockets play without Kevin Durant. Before tonight's tip, let's get you caught up on a dramatic weekend around the NBA playoffs where momentum shifted in both conferences. Earlier today in Toronto, the Toronto Raptors evened their first-round series with the Cleveland Cavaliers at 2 games apiece with a 93-89 win. It was not a shooting clinic, it was a grinder. Toronto hit just 4 3-pointers all night, but made the winning plays late. Scotty Barnes led the way with 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, including the go-ahead free throws in the final minute. Brandon Ingram also scored 23, and R.J. Barrett added 18. For Cleveland, it was a night of missed chances. Donovan Mitchell scored 20, but shot just 6 for 24 from the floor. James Harden had 19 points, with Cavaliers committed 18 turnovers. After winning the first 2 games of this series, Cleveland has now dropped 2 straight and heads home with the pressure squarely on them for Game 5. Now to the West, where the Minnesota Timberwolves moved within 1 win of advancing, beating the Denver Nuggets 112-96 to take a commanding 3-1 series lead last night. And the story of the night was Ayo Dosunmu, who was pressed into a larger role after injuries to Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo. Dawson Mew delivered the game of his life, 43 points off the bench, a career high, while shooting 13 of 17 from the field, 5 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 12 for 12 at the line. Minnesota dominated the second half, outscoring Denver 62-49. Nikola Jokic had 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists, while Jamal Murray scored 30. But the Nuggets now face elimination heading back to Denver. Tensions also boiled over in the final seconds, with Jokic and Julius Randle ejected after a late confrontation near the Minnesota bench. So as we turn to tonight's action, Toronto has seized momentum. Cleveland is searching for answers. Minnesota is one step away, but very compromised, as Anthony Edwards will be out for at least 2 weeks. And Dante DiVincenzo not coming back till next season, if then, with the ruptured Achilles. How about Portland earlier today? Portland were what looked like a competitive first-round series had suddenly become a commanding march for the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs erased an early deficit and overwhelmed the Portland Trailblazers in the second half, rolling to a 114-93 victory in Game 4 to seize a 3-1 series lead in the Western Conference first-round matchup. For a half, Portland had control. The Blazers led by 17 late in the second quarter and carried a 58-41 advantage into halftime. Their crowd was energized, their offense was flowing, and it looked as though this series might be headed for a dramatic turn. Then came the third quarter. San Antonio outscored Portland 33-16 in the period, tightening the screws defensively and turning every miss into transition opportunity. By the time the fourth quarter began, the game had completely changed tone. The Spurs then delivered the knockout punch with a dominant 40-point final quarter, leaving no doubt who owns this series. De'Aaron Fox was sensational, pouring in 28 points on 11 of 17 shooting while controlling tempo and attacking Portland's guards all afternoon. His burst in the second half ignited the comeback, and once again, Victor Wembanyama made his presence felt everywhere. He finished with 11 rebounds, altered shots, protected the rim, and changed the geometry of the floor even when he wasn't touching the basketball. How about Stephon Castle adding 8 assists and steady playmaking, another sign that this Spurs team is growing more dangerous by the game. For Portland, Denny Avdija led the way with 26 points and 7 rebounds. But the Blazers simply could not sustain their first half rhythm. Just 35 points after halftime and 18 turnovers told the story. The numbers are stark. San Antonio shot 49% from the field, hit 14 threes, and committed fewer turnovers. More importantly, they looked like the more poised, mature, playoff-tested club when the pressure rose. Now this series shifts back to Texas, where the Spurs will have a chance to close it out in Game 5. And if today was any indication, this young San Antonio team may be thinking about far more than just the first round. So that was earlier today, but we have 2 more games on the horizon. I want to start with the Lakers, who are up 3-0. The series is basically over unless Houston does something dramatic tonight. And now we're learning that Kevin Durant is out again. That changes everything. I don't care how deep you are. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how many young legs you have. When Kevin Durant is not on the floor in an elimination type game, that is a massive problem. Durant has the sprained ankle, now the bone bruise, swelling, stiffness, lack of mobility. That's not just tape it up and play. That's a player who cannot move the way he needs to move. And Durant's game is based on balance, footwork, elevation, getting to spots. If that ankle isn't right, he's not Kevin Durant. So the doctors didn't clear him, and Houston has to go into Game 4 without its biggest shot maker. That to me means season over. Okay? But the Rockets are at home. They're favored by 5.5, which tells you Vegas still respects the building, the urgency, and maybe the idea that the Lakers are beat up too. right? Luka Doncic is out. Austin Reeves is dealing with the oblique. But the difference is this. The Lakers have LeBron James. And LeBron James gave you 29 in an overtime playoff win 48 hours ago. At this stage, that matters. Houston's path tonight is very simple. Alperen Sengun has to dominate. 33 points last game, terrific, but terrible down the stretch. Houston lost that game down the stretch because of costly miscues. That has to go away. Okay? And Sengun has to do it again, and he has to do it with even more attention coming his way, and he has to do it without the lack of errors. Okay, because there are no more errors. You lose this game, and you are done. It is go home. The Lakers are going to load up. They're going to make Amen Thompson, the role guys, right, the shooters, everybody else is going to have to prove that they can make enough shots to extend this series. And that's the question. Where does Houston get the easy offense without Durant? Because in the playoffs, when possessions slow down, when the game gets tight, you need somebody who can rise up and get you a basket. Durant is that guy. Without him, now everything becomes harder, right? Every possession becomes a grind. For the Lakers, this is about professionalism. You're up 3-0. Don't get cute. Okay, don't give Houston life. Don't let the crowd get into it, right? Don't do to them what they did on Friday night and blow the game, right? Because really, Houston has everything to lose, so they're going to try and throw some circus type stuff, do some stuff that you may not be used to seeing. Don't take the bait is basically what I'm saying, right? Don't let the crowd get into it. Don't start turning the ball over and acting like Game 5 is guaranteed. Close the door tonight. Do not let this, don't let this be a Game 5, right? Don't let there be a Game 5. Don't let there be a Game 6. Let's end this at 4. Close the door tonight. That's what veterans teams do. That's what LeBron James does. And that's what DeAndre Hatton and Roy Hachimura have to do. Now you go, how do they do that? Well, Hatton has to rebound. Hachimura has to hit shots. The Lakers have to defend without fouling and control the tempo. They don't need to win this game by 20. They just need to be within striking distance in the fourth quarter, because if you close it late, who do you trust more, right? A Durantless Rocket team or a LeBron James who is playing like it's 2011? That's the whole series right there. Houston will fight. Sengun will get his numbers. Amen Thompson will bring energy. The Rockets are too good and too proud to roll over. But without Durant, without Van Fleet, without Adams, you're asking a lot from a team that is already down 3-0. The Lakers smell the second round. Tonight is about finishing the job. But before the Lakers can finish the job, a game in Philadelphia has to take place. The Boston Celtics lead the Philadelphia 76ers 2-1 in the first round. Game 4 tonight, coming up in about 7 minutes in Philadelphia. This is not just a Game 4 anymore. This is Joel Embiid walking back into the building. 2 weeks after appendicitis surgery, with the Sixers down 2-1 in the Boston Celtics series. And the whole series sitting right here on the edge of the table. Because let's be honest, if Embiid doesn't play, this series is probably drifting away from Philadelphia. They fought, they scratched. Tyrese Maxey gave them 31 the other night, but Boston walked out of Game 3 with a 108-100 win. That's what great teams do. They absorb, they push, they survive the road crowd, and they make the big plays late. But now Embiid returns, and that changes everything. But it does not automatically fix everything. That's the key tonight, because Embiid being available and Embiid being Joel Embiid are two different things, right? This is not a turned ankle. This is not a sore wrist. This guy is coming off surgery. Conditioning matters. Pain tolerance matters. Timing matters. Can he run? Can he establish position? How does he look on the floor? Can he defend without fouling? Can he play 28, 30, 32 minutes? And if he can't, how does Nick Nurse manage it? Boston is favored by 7.5, and it tells you the odds makers are not buying the emotional return alone. They still see Boston as the better team. And why wouldn't they, right? The Celtics are 56-26. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're averaging almost 120 points over that stretch, and they just beat the Philadelphia 76ers in this building. But here's the thing. Playoff basketball is not always about who is better over 82 games. Sometimes it is about one night, one building, one emotional lift, one star coming back and making everybody believe again. And that is what Embiid gives the Sixers tonight. Philadelphia does not need Embiid to score 40. They just need his presence. They need him to command attention. They need him to make Boston think twice before switching everything, before helping off shooters, before collapsing on Maxey. Because in Game 3, Maxey had to carry too much. He had 31, but he was working uphill. Boston knew where the danger was. They loaded up. They made the Sixers work for every clean look. With Embiid on the floor, even at 75%, the geometry changes. Now Maxey has room. Now Quentin Grimes can get cleaner looks. Now Andre Drummond is not being asked to hold the middle by himself. You get Paul George in there, and he's able to rotate more and do some more ISO and play man-to-man. And now Boston also has to make decisions, right? They came into this game prepping that Embiid wasn't going to play. Now they have to game change, right? They have to ask their questions. Do we go single coverage and let Embiid get comfortable? Or do we send help and open up the perimeter? But I'll tell you what worries me if I'm Philadelphia. Boston's offensive rebounding. The Celtics are fourth in the East in offensive rebounds at 12.5 per game, and Cueta is giving them 3 offensive boards a night. That matters because when you're trying to upset a team, when you're trying to even a series, you cannot defend for 22 seconds, force a miss, and then give Boston another possession. That kills you. That breaks your back. Philadelphia averages 43.6 rebounds a game, 8th in the East. That's fine. Not great, but fine. And tonight, fine is not enough. They have to finish possessions, and Boston is just beating you one way. Jaylen Brown had 25 in Game 3. Derek White gives them 16 and 5 assists on average. They're shooting 49.4% over the last 10 games. They move the ball. They get to the second side. They don't panic, and that's the thing about Boston. They are comfortable. They can win ugly. And they can win pretty. They can win with Brown. They can win with White. They can win with balance. And the Sixers, especially with Embiid coming back, may be emotional early. The crowd will be loud. The building will be alive. But Boston's job is to survive the first punch. If the Celtics get through the first quarter even or up 5, that crowd starts to get nervous. Because the question becomes, how much does Embiid really have? Now, for Philadelphia, the formula is pretty simple. Number 1, Maxey has to stay aggressive. You cannot have Maxey deferring just because Embiid is back. That would be a mistake. Maxey has been their engine. He's averaging 24.5 points over the last 10, and he gave them 31 last game. Keep him in attack mode. Let Embiid's presence help Maxey, not replace him. Number 2, Embiid has to be efficient. He cannot come back and force 22 shots just to prove he's back. That's how you lose rhythm. Get to the line. Hit the mid-range. Make the right pass. Use your size. Make Boston foul you. And finally, role players have to hit shots. That's the difference in these games. The stars cancel each other out. And then somebody like Grimes, somebody off the bench, somebody in the corner has to make Boston pay. Okay? And my question here is, can Philadelphia defend without fouling? Boston is too good to give free throws to, right? They're already averaging 119 in their last 10. You cannot put them on the line and hand them rhythm. For Boston, the message is also simple. Don't get caught up in the Embiid story. Attack him. Put him in actions. Make him move. Make him defend in space. Make him run. If he's rusty, expose it. Right? If he's tired, speed him up. Don't let him stand in the paint and control the game. That's where Joe Mazzulla has to be aggressive. You don't treat Embiid like he's fully healthy until he proves he is. You don't make him prove it every trip. And look, this is the danger game for Boston. They lead 2-1. They already got the road win, right? They could lose tonight and still feel like the series is going fine. It's not a must-win for Boston. It's a must-win for Philadelphia. Because if Philadelphia wins tonight with Embiid back, all of a sudden the Sixers believe. The city believes. Embiid believes. Maxey believes. Then Game 5 becomes a monster. Boston has a chance tonight to take command of the series. Philadelphia has a chance tonight to completely change the series. And that's why this matters, because at 3-1, Boston has Philadelphia by the throat. At 2-2, we have a brand new series. It's down to a best 2 out of 3, and the Celtics start hearing all the questions. Can they close? Did they let Philly back in? Is Embiid getting healthier by the day? So tonight is pressure both ways. The pick, I think Embiid gives Philadelphia a major emotional lift early. I think the Sixers play desperate. I think Maxey has another big night, but I still need to see Embiid finish a full playoff game coming off surgery before I trust Philadelphia all the way. So I'm picking the Celtics. They are the better team. Sixers may have the better story tonight, and in the playoffs, the better story can win for a game. But I think there's too much power in Boston. So I'm going with the Sixers, and I like the Lakers to sweep the Rockets tonight. This has been the Hardwood Report. We'll see you for the Hardwood Report at the half. Boston and Philadelphia tip off next.